Broadcasting from Cincinnati, you're listening to the Ringside Reporter Podcast. All the news from the world of boxing right here.
Well, I'm talking to you the way I want to talk to you.
Now, here's your host, Eric Lorda.
And we are live. Welcome to the Ringside Reporter Show, where we talk about the latest boxing news. If it's related to boxing, we'll talk about it here. My name is Eric Lorta, and I'm here with my co-host, Joe Habib, and we have a great show for you today. And if you want to call and ask questions, you can call in right now at 323-870-3857, and we'll be here till about 9 o'clock tonight. And today, we're going to talk about Beeb. Nigel Benn pulls out with an injury. Scheduled to fight Saki Obika. Who saw that coming, Beeb? He's only 55. I didn't see that.
Yeah.
Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. in trouble with VADA again. Again, he's in trouble with VADA. Go figure that one out. We'll have the whole story. But first, hey, what else can we possibly get started with other than the big fight last night? Canelo versus Sergey Kovalev. I tell you what, man, Canelo Alvarez becomes a 4-division champion by knocking out Sergey Kovalev in the 11th round. It was a left hand that sent Kovalev stuttering on his feet backward, and then that right hand that he hit him with, that put him on his knees and dropped him against the ropes, man. That was as vicious a shot as you will see. And I say that because, really, they could have, obviously they're not going to, but you really probably could have stepped in. At that point, as soon as he hit him with that left and he was short-circuited, you probably could have stepped in. But I get it, man. And he hit him with that right hand, and that guy just dropped. You could tell. He hit those ropes hard, too. He was gone. There was no need to count him or anything like that. They stopped the fight pretty much immediately. Overall, it was a good fight, man. I had Kovalev ahead at the time of the stoppage. I think I had him 97-93. I thought he was boxing really well, man. And I know Beeb and I differ on this point, I think. I thought he boxed really well, didn't throw a lot of power shots, but apparently that was by design. They interviewed McGirt during the fight, which I absolutely hate when they do that, but he said that that's what they were trying to do. They were trying to conserve him. He was trying not to gas out during the fight. And, he was doing the jabs. I thought he did a good job with range. I thought he did a good job of keeping that jab out, keeping Canelo at distance, and kind of dictating the range of the fight. And I thought Canelo had a hard time with that range. I really did. His plan looked like it was working okay up until the 11th round when he got clipped. Canelo, to me, didn't look that great. He looked like the old Canelo. He looked very robotic. He didn't move much. He was trying to walk down Kovalev, and I think that was by design. I think they tried to walk him down to get the body shots and try to get him worn down and everything like that and kind of put that pressure on him, and that's what Canelo was doing. And, that's kind of what he did. So Kovalev had a good game plan, man, but he just couldn't hang on. And, listen, the bottom line was he wasn't going to win the decision in Vegas anyway. The judges had him up. They had Canelo up, I think it was 96-94 at the time of the stoppage, and then one judge had it 95-95. So with that knockdown, everything like that, yeah, it wasn't going to be in the cards for Alvarez, no matter how anybody looked at it. A lot of people on social media hating on Canelo today, man. They saying the fight was fixed and Kovalev took a dive and everything like that. You guys are idiots, man. You guys don't know what you're watching. You guys have absolutely no clue what you're watching if you think Kovalev took a dive. Listen, there are a lot easier ways to take a dive than what he got hit with, getting hit with that left and right combo. And before we get to the our train wreck of the week, Beeb, talk about the fight. Talk about what you saw and how you were scoring it and everything like that.
Well, what I saw is obviously we knew Kovalev was going to try to create space. We knew he was going to try and box from the outside. And we knew he was going to try to use his jab to set up his big right hand from the outside. But with all that being said, to me, with all the respect, Kovalev fought like a guy who was trying to not get knocked out, basically. He wasn't throwing that same type of jab that he actually knocked out Anthony Yarde with, that rapier, razor stiletto type jab. he was throwing a jab like it was like a get off me punch, stay away from me punch. Basically, he wasn't stepping in with it. He was just pawing with it, kept throwing it the same way. And I thought Canelo fought beautifully. The way he had his hands up high, catching everything on the gloves, moving his head, bobbing and weaving. He looked like Mike Tyson in there. I said it during the live cast, how he was bobbing and weaving and getting in there, and how he's ripping to the body, and how he was just putting his shots together, and how he was like throwing that right hand. He was throwing that right hand from the outside and then sliding it underneath behind it and coming down with the left hook to the body and then coming back up with the left hook. He looked like a beast to me. And I was impressed how he was actually fighting like the bigger man. And he was pushing Kovalev back. Walking him back, pushing him back all night. And then you saw Kovalev, who never really does this, but he put his left hand covering the left side of his body. Basically, he was, to me, it looked like I'd rather have this guy hit me in the face than hit me in the body. He was overly concerned about getting hit to the body last night, and he was overly concerned. He even said it. They asked him, why didn't you throw your right hand? And he goes, well, I was concerned about getting countered. I didn't want to get hit to the body. And you could tell that he was overly concerned with what was coming back at him. That's why he was so tentative in throwing his shots. He was overly concerned about getting countered. And again, I wasn't in there. I'm not questioning his heart or anything like that. I mean, Canelo can punch. And obviously we saw he could punch in that 11th round. Because that left hook, when he landed that left hook, go back and watch that. I'm sure you saw it a couple times.
Oh, it was ridiculous.
Kovalev's eyes rolled in the back of his head.
It was out.
His body went limp. And I've never seen Kovalev hurt like that before. I've never seen anyone take him out like that. Most of the time, Kovalev's worn down by an accumulation of punches, and him fading too as well in the second half of the fight. But Canelo hurt him, and then watching Canelo hit him to the body, and just seeing once again, just like when Beeb hit Gvozdyk, how Gvozdyk actually was like being moved by the punch. I saw the same thing. I was in disbelief with how strong Canelo looked and how explosive Canelo looked and how fast his hands were last night, and how beautifully he was moving his hands. Maybe I'm in the minority here. I thought Canelo fought a beautiful fight. And after that fight last night, I bought one first-class ticket to the Canelo, to have the best seat on the Canelo train. I'm on the Canelo train right now. I bought one first-class ticket on the Canelo train, and I'm riding that bitch till the wheels fall off. Till the wheels fall off that motherfucker. Because I've always picked against Canelo. I picked against him in both Golovkin fights. I picked against him even when he fought Amir Khan. I was even as bold as to pick against him when he fought Alfredo Angulo. I picked against him when he fought Arislandi Lara. I picked against him when he fought Austin Trout. I thought he lost a Lara fight. And I thought he lost both Golovkin fights. But, I mean, those were debatable. I mean, you can't get mad that he got the decision in the second one. In the draw, I thought the draw was a stretch, but it wasn't impossible. But with all that being said, I've been the biggest Canelo critic over the years. And last night, I became a full-fledged believer. A full-fledged believer. Arriba la raza! Viva Mexico! I mean, I'm a believer. And I hope he doesn't go back down to 160. I hope he stays, at least goes down to 168. He could even compete with these guys at 175. And I'm going to say one thing, and when Wood said it last week, I kind of was dismissive. But Wood, guess what? Guess what, Wood? It's not a guarantee that he beats Beeb, but he can hang in there. I don't think it would be a walk in the park for Beeb. I'll tell you that right now. And there's a lot of light heavyweights right now that I would pick Canelo over. Canelo showed that he can carry that weight, and he was actually fighting like the bigger man, even though he was supposedly the smaller man last night. And that impressed the hell out of me. That impressed. And when you looked at him, his body looked like granite. He looked like, I know it's not a beauty
big
contest,
guy. Yeah.
had not an ounce of fat on it. It was just as shredded at 174 as he was at 160, and actually looked like he put on some quality muscle mass.
He's a big guy.
Looked like he was eating the MegaFit meals in training camp. I mean, he looked fucking great.
He was eating that Mexican steak is what he was doing.
He looked great. So I am on the Canelo train right now, man. I am on the Canelo train right now. I love how he bossed. He bossed fucking Kovalev last night. He was the boss. He bossed him. He bodied him. And I loved it. And then Kovalev, there was times in the fight when Kovalev would like get hit with a shot. And like he'd be like 2 feet away. He'd reach out and try to grab Canelo. And then Canelo would be like, get off me, motherfucker. Get off me. And pushed him right off. Couldn't hold. Like he couldn't even fucking, like, even Kovalev was able to hold Andre Ward in spots. But Canelo just pushed him off like he was nothing. Get the fuck off me. We're going to fight tonight, baby. We're not going to dance. We're not hugging. Get off me, baby. We're fighting.
What did you think? What did you think of? Kovalev said he got tired around the 6th round in the post-fight. He said he got tired around the 6th round. When they interviewed McGirt in that corner, they said that the plan was to like touch him, to make him uncomfortable in a sense of dictate the range and win the rounds and that kind of thing. And I thought, like I said, he was doing well, but you know the fact that he was, to me anyway, it looked like he was still like he wasn't gassed, but he just like he got clipped.
Well,
And listen, man.
Let's just put it this way.
Those shots that he got clipped with in that 11th round, listen, man, not too many people are going to stand up to those type of shots.
Listen,
that's just the way it is.
Again, we don't score facial damage. We don't.
No.
But his nose was bleeding. He had red marks all over his face. I mean, the dude was getting touched up all night. His body was had welts on it. All right? And he was getting hit with the body shots, and you could see him go like he was getting. I was feeling those shots. I actually felt bad for the guy last night. I asked Lois to give me a towel. I was about to throw the towel in a few times for Kovalev. That's how bad I felt for him with the punishment he was taking.
Did you always ask Lois for a towel?
We're not going to get into that now. You've already been contacted by Human Resources 4 times last month. 4 times.
That's a
4
lot,
times.
man. I think, yeah, but 2
4
of
times.
those I got out of. 2 of those I actually got out.
You're lucky that I had to go to bat for you to keep you, you know.
Hey, don't think I don't appreciate that.
I know you do, but I'm telling you, man, I was impressed. I'm in the minority. A lot of people saw it differently than me, and you know what? We're not going to argue. Whoever saw it a different way,
look,
whatever.
You saw Andre Ward win in the first fight against Kovalev. You had it scored for Andre Ward. I had it scored for Kovalev. Listen, sometimes we see different things, and I think that's the good thing about it. So when you come back and say, man, that score sucked. Well, wait a minute. You had it this way. You had it that way, or somebody had it the other. You know what I mean? And so it's real subjective in that way. But the bottom line is the judges had it for Canelo, and they're the only ones that really matter. Canelo took it out of his hands anyway.
Listen,
so.
I'm getting a poncho. I'm getting a sombrero. I'm down. I'm fucking full-fledged right now. I'm full-fledged. I'm full-fledged.
I'll tell you what. With Canelo, man, I think it would be a. They were talking about Beeb next, and I think that's a good fight. And I would like to see him fight Callum Smith. You know, I really would. I would like to see him fight Callum Smith.
Fight. And
that's
I think
an awesome fight.
That's what I said last night, immediately after the fight. I pray he doesn't go down to 160. Oh, that would be the biggest mistake ever.
I think he would have trouble making 160.
Oh my God, he looked like a brick shithouse last night. He was fucking.
He's a big guy.
He was jacked last night.
He's a big guy, man. But let's talk about what's next for Kovalev, man. Because I'll be honest with you, I don't know that he I don't know. I mean, you know, to me, he didn't look bad last night. He was very competitive, I thought. I had him winning the fight up until, like I said, until he got KO'd. But that being said, man, I mean, you know, if he was tired around the 6th round, he said he didn't recover at all from his last fight. which what do we say? It was 2.5 months ago, and then that's a tall order.
But Eric, he's 36 years old.
Yeah,
he was
that's where I'm going with it.
He was in. I don't mean to cut you off. I apologize, but he was he was in a tough fight. His last fight almost got stopped. There was 2.5 months for a guy with that many miles on the odometer after being in a fight like that. Who knows what? I mean, maybe it could have been more competitive. Maybe if the fight was like six months away, if it was 6 months from his last fight instead of 2.5, who knows? But I'm on the Canelo train, man, so I don't give a fuck, man.
He's got to be pound for pound, right?
At least number 3, possibly number 1 or 2.
How could we? I mean, let's talk about this for a second. I mean, realistically,
yeah.
How could we go against him on pound for pound?
I'm not going to go against him. I'm just saying at least the most ardent Canelo hater would have to at least say he's number 3. And I'm not really a pound for pound guy, but you know what? I kind of like talking about like the top 3 or 4 guys anyways. Like everyone knows who the top 3 or 4 guys are in the sport if you follow the sport. You know what I'm saying? We know it's Lomachenko, Crawford, and Canelo. We know those guys are the 3 top guys. We know that. But if you put a gun to my head, Canelo's the pound for pound number 1 fighter in the world right now. 100%. You know why? Based off a resume. Based off of, now he's got titles in 3 divisions. Okay? What's Crawford? Crawford has titles in 3 divisions too, right? 130, 135. Actually, no, 4, right? 130, 135, 140, 147.
Yeah.
And Canelo's a 4 division too. 160, 168, 154, 160, 168, 175. Yeah, he's
4 division. But that being said, he's still got all of those belts. He didn't vacate it. He's a 3. He's holding the belts currently in 160, 168, and now 175.
Yeah.
And he's the champion in all of those weight classes.
Yeah, he's the best fighter in the world.
Got to be pound for pound, right? I mean, how would we even argue that?
Well, Teddy Atlas got, Lomachenko. He's got a poster of Lomachenko in his bedroom. So I mean, Teddy Atlas, although he loves Lomachenko.
Teddy Atlas is the man.
And listen, I like Lomachenko too. Don't get me wrong, but I don't know.
At this point, I mean, it's hard to argue a 4 division champion
with that
just beat
with that
a solid guy.
Yeah.
And Kovalev, Andre Ward put it best. He didn't fight the Crusher Kovalev. He fought Sergey Kovalev. But Sergey Kovalev can still fight. Listen, I had him beating Anthony Yard. I had Anthony Yard beating Kovalev. I didn't think he was getting past him.
Well,
I didn't think he was getting past Elida. I thought Elida Alvarez was going to get him the second time.
Yeah. I thought Elida Alvarez was going to beat him in the rematch. He fought a beautiful fight in the Elida Alvarez rematch, and he fought a beautiful fight in the Anthony Yard fight.
Yeah.
Yeah, two back-to-back solid performances. So it wasn't like he had bad performances, but he was going in there with the man last night, man. He was in there with the man last night.
Joel Lopez says Canelo beat a solid guy, someone who got knocked out twice recently. What? I mean, you get knocked out and you're not a good fighter? I mean, and listen, but he jumped up
Anthony Yard
in weight. He jumped up in weight to 175. That's not a big accomplishment? Let me tell you what. I think Sergey Kovalev could have beat Donnie Lalonde. Back in the day, if we're matching guys, I mean, you talk about Sugar Ray Leonard did the same thing. This was, I mean, if you didn't think Kovalev fought well last night, come on, man. You got to give the guy his due here.
Name 5 light heavyweights that are better than Sergey Kovalev. Name 5.
Yeah.
Who would you pick, Kovalev or Vosdick? That would be a good fight.
Jem J says that Callum Smith in New York, he said he'd like to see that. I would too. Georgie says Canelo on the rocket fuel. Georgie's such a hater. He's such a hater.
Georgie owes us 2 pies, man. 1 for me and 1 for you.
2, Georgie. JC says bunch of casuals here. Yeah. I think so. If you're saying the fight was fixed if you're saying that Canelo beat and I heard Larry Merchant said that he beat an old fighter. Which, listen, I mean, he's 36. It's true. He beat an older fighter, but the guy could still fight.
So why was it Mayweather old when he fought him then? Mayweather was 36 when when Canelo fought him too. How come he couldn't beat that old fighter?
Yeah, there you go. But I tell you,
Andre Ward was 34. He was still the best. He was like the best pound for pound fighter in the world at 34. Mayweather was the best pound for pound fighter in the world at 37. Klitschko was like 38 and he was dominating at the heavyweights.
Yeah.
So again, old is a subjective word, because you could be like Fernando Vargas and be 30 and be old as a fighter based
He's
on
got a million miles on him.
Based on the miles you have on you.
Yep.
So it's not Canelo's fault.
No, I thought he fought a good fight. And I tell you what, and I'll be the first one to admit I was wrong, because I said that, and I told you before the fight, I said, I think this is going to go like the Chavez Jr. fight.
No.
Where Canelo just bullies him around. Canelo, and the guy, with this kind of like this gentleman's agreement where I just let me make the final bell and I won't try to hurt you or anything like that, And
I had people calling me up telling me they put the mortgage on this fight because they watched Beating the Odds with Beeb yesterday afternoon, and I was getting all these thank yous from
mortgage.
People were putting their mortgages up. They were
on Canelo.
For the stoppage.
Why wouldn't you bet on Canelo?
No. I told them to pick the stoppage proposition because the stoppage proposition was a plus 200.
Yeah, well, that's what we had. I mean, that's what we both picked stoppages.
Yeah, we both did.
But I'll be honest, man. I tell you what.
You were kind of hedging a little bit though towards the end. You were kind of hedging.
I don't know that I was. I'm pretty sure I was.
You just said it. It's on record right now. You just said you thought it was going to go like the Chavez Jr. fight. That fight went the distance. We got you recorded here, brother. We got you recorded. We're gonna play it back now. If we have
I want to have Lois play it back for me.
No, you did say stoppage initially, but then you were kind of saying, yeah, I could see maybe it may go the distance.
I could see him just like buying out of it like that.
But I was 100% confident he was going to get stopped. I really was.
I was, man. I was impressed. Like I said, man, I was impressed with Kovalev yesterday because I didn't think that he was gonna stand in there with him. I didn't think it was going to be competitive. And, I mean, he proved me wrong. And I D-Style, it was funny because I texted D-Style. I said after 3 rounds, D-Style's looking like a genius today, man. Because, I mean, I think I give Kovalev the first 3 or something like that. I mean, he was just, to me, he was beating him pretty sound in those first, like I said.
Hey, listen, a lot of people agreed with you, man.
Yeah.
A lot of people agreed with you.
Yeah.
I'm in the minority.
Yeah, it's all right, man. That's why we have it.
It is what it is, man.
Yeah.
I'm not like these other guys that I'm gonna go because I don't wait till after the fight and see what everyone else says on Twitter and then just kind of
let me rescore the fight.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go rescore the fight.
I watched it again, guys.
I watched it again.
You guys are right. You guys are right. I watched it again. You guys are right. Get the fuck out of here.
Those are always the best. Those are always the best when they say, "Oh yeah, but I had it for this guy, but then I went back and rewatched it, and I thought the judges got it right."
Okay, there's no do-overs.
Yeah, you watch the fight. What else do you need? If you were swept up in the moment, that's your fault.
Now, if you want to watch it again and say, I could see how someone could have scored it for the other guy.
Yeah,
that's fine. That's fine. But someone said to me, I think this was I think Boxing MD said this to me one time, or maybe even you said this to me. Tell me if it was you. If you go and watch a fight a second time, you're looking to try to find rounds to give to the other guy that you didn't give to him the first time. You're going out of your. Did you say that to me? I think
so. Yeah.
Could have been you. I know, Bach. I think you said that to me before. You're like, if you're gonna watch it a second time, then you're trying to give it to the other guy. You're trying to find ways that you could swing rounds to the other guy. Because the only reason why you would watch it a second time is if everyone else had it differently than you and you want to normalize your scorecard.
That's it. You want to normalize it. You want to say, hey, I was embarrassed of my scorecard, so
Right.
I got to do this. I got to do that.
Yeah.
It's not
Listen, I
that's
scored.
silly.
I don't care what anyone says. People to this day still make fun of me. I scored the Bradley fight, the Pacquiao Bradley fight for Bradley,
Yeah.
115 and 113, and I don't care who makes fun of me. I watched it 10 times and I scored it for frickin' Bradley. I'm sorry.
Listen, I've said it before too. I've admitted it here. Me and CJ Ross are the only ones that scored the draw for Canelo and Mayweather. I had to fight a draw. It is what it is. Is what it is. If I go back and rewatch it, I guarantee I'll score it for Mayweather. But on that night, that's what it was. That's what I saw. And it is what it is, I mean, you take the lumps for it, whatever. But, yeah, I mean, crazy. Let's talk about the giant elephant in the room, because that's going to lead us here to our train wreck of the week. All right? The DAZN broadcast was completely crummy last night.
They're getting worse and worse with every fucking fight. They're horrible. They're horrible.
Winning Results Fitness and Nutrition says, you're a freaking moron, Eric. Jeez.
Listen.
You guys are so brutal. This is not for the faint of heart, man.
This is why this show is so great, because we don't want to fit in. We don't want to be like everybody else. We don't care if one of these kids are doing their own thing. We'll be the square peg in the round hole. We don't care.
That's right.
We don't care.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Eric. Go ahead.
Oh, I got a master's degree. I'm not a moron.
This guy's got a master's degree. He's the brains.
Son.
He's the brains behind this operation.
Hello. I mean, come on. Yeah, what about that?
I'm just the pretty face here. He's the brains.
Right. I mean, somebody's got to do it, All right. So this is funny, man. This is that DAZN broadcast was terrible. I mean, absolutely horrific. All right. Earlier in the day, the decision was made to start the fight after UFC 244 main event. All right. The UFC 244 has got to be the biggest fight this year. Nate Diaz versus Jorge Masvidal, two fan favorites. And they put them in the main event. Had to be the biggest fight of UFC this year. So big, how big was it? The president attended the fight. All right. Donald Trump was front row at the fight last night. So it was a pretty big deal in New York. So, like I said, they wanted to start the fight after the UFC main event. Now, the UFC starts at 10 o'clock Eastern. That's what time the main card goes on. And they've got about 5 fights on the main card. And it's not uncommon for those things to end about 1 o'clock. I mean, sometimes they stretch them out and they go late, The Ryan Garcia fight ended around 11:35 Eastern. The UFC wasn't even halfway done with the co-main at that point. Kovalev and Canelo didn't get started until 1:15. Think about that for a minute. From 11:30, that's almost a 2-hour wait, Beeb. A 2-hour wait, almost a 2-hour wait.
Yes, it is.
To get those two idiots in the ring. They were gloved up. Sitting in the dressing room. And I mean, Sergey was going to sleep on the couch. Had gloves on. Canelo was slouched over. Both guys, I don't know if you noticed this or not yesterday, both guys came in the ring bone dry. Dry.
I thought Canelo wasn't really as dry as Kovalev was, but he was
they were both dry. Yeah, I thought they were both dry. Not nearly.
Kovalev looked like really, really dry.
Like he just woke up or something.
And if you noticed, he didn't want to take his shirt off until right after he was right when they were getting ready to announce it, because he was trying to get warm.
Yeah.
He's trying to get warm.
It's crazy, man. They didn't, like I said, man, they didn't get started till 1:15. Dana White said, now this is the greatest part of everything here. Dana White said in the press conference that the MGM brand called him and asked him if they could show the main event of UFC 244 because the people in the arena were so restless. All right. Think about this for a minute. Now, the fight is on DAZN. The Canelo Kovalev fight is on DAZN. DAZN shows MMA too, but they don't show UFC. They show Bellator, which is the UFC's main competitor. So they were showing the UFC on that card on the big screen in the MGM Grand. I just thought that was like amazingly crazy.
It was beyond ridiculous.
Yeah, like what are you guys doing?
Beyond
ridiculous. Why on earth would anybody make that decision? Two completely different sports. Dana White, who talked to Oscar and told him not to compete with them because they had a big card and it would hurt Canelo and the rest of the fighters on that card. And they had the date first. UFC had the date first. Golden Boy decided they were going to do it anyway. So what is this saying about your product? I mean, the fact that you delayed it, until this other sport was done, that you put your people on ice for almost 2 hours so that this fight could finish. So that it was just, I was dumbfounded. Could you imagine paying all that money and being in that arena for like,
why doesn't Oscar
ridiculous?
Why doesn't Oscar just sell that promotional company? He just doesn't. Did you see him like walking around yesterday?
Did you see him after the Garcia fight? His face was beet red. He looked like he was coked up.
My God! And then if you watched him at the post-fight press conference, standing behind everyone and like on the podium, he's like all fidgety, he's like moving around, going like that, making all these like weird. He's like, someone's got to help this guy.
Yeah,
someone's got to help this guy.
And the worst part about all this is that when the UFC main event was over, they continued, and then everybody at this point is just done. They want to see a fight. You know what I mean? So as soon as the main event ends, they decide to go along with 3 national anthems, the Russian, the Mexican, and the United States, and then show 2 video packages prior to the fight, which delayed things even further. What is going on? How about this? How about the other thing that I didn't hear a whole lot of people talking about? How about the other thing that they put Kovalev in the ring first? He's defending his championship. Why would he come in first?
But they announced Canelo first.
Still, though, that's just disrespectful.
You're right. No, you're right. I'm just saying.
Who does that?
Yeah, it's probably part of the thing.
Yeah.
I get you have to come in first, but I'll get introduced first.
Right. And nobody ever remembers the guy who was introduced first. They just remember the ring, the ring walks or whatever. But
yeah.
What were your thoughts when you heard about this decision to delay it till afterwards? I thought it was crazy.
All I was doing last night while I was waiting to do the live cast, I went on a little bit earlier. All I was doing was bitching, crying, and complaining. I wasn't happy about it. That's all I did. And that's that's all everyone else did too.
Oh yeah.
No one was happy with this decision, nor should they have been.
You know what this reminded me of? I swear to God, you know what this reminded me of? The Mayweather tension fight. You remember when we stayed up all night to watch the fight? It was like they said it was supposed to go off at midnight, so we're up at midnight. I'm watching this thing, man.
And then we're doing video. And then
I had my alarm set for every 15 minutes so I could wake up and I wouldn't miss anything because I was falling asleep. It wasn't until like 5 or 6 o'clock when that fight goes on, and you get that mess.
Are we the 2 biggest losers ever?
We are.
We have to be.
We have to be.
We have to have like no life to do something like that.
Zero. And then the only thing we did was after the fight we came online.
No, we came online. We're doing videos about it.
And then went to sleep the rest of the morning because we were up all night.
That video got a lot of views too, man.
It was awesome, man. It was awesome.
That was hilarious. That was fucking hilarious.
So, yeah, that and the rest of the DAZN, their announcing team was just horrible. Who was that cupcake, the redheaded cupcake? She was terrible.
I got a nice little sweatshirt on, the Canelo commemorative sweatshirt. I don't think I'm going to give it back. Gives a fuck. You can have 10 of them if you want.
Oh, my God. Do you watch on... what is it? ESPN that has the MMA, and that girl Karen somebody. She does MMA on there. She's really good.
She's really good. Yeah.
She's really good. She knows the sport. She's very good. Why don't they hire those type of people?
She's really good.
Instead of what they got on there now.
And she's very respected, too.
Yeah. Instead, we got this girl, this redhead over there, you know. Oh, look, I got Canelo's sweatshirt on that they're going to present to him. Oh. Maybe I'll have Canelo take this off me at the press conference. Come on, man.
It's like, it was ridiculous.
Get a grip. I hate that.
Sergio Mora, how many times did he call every left hook a check hook last night?
That's all he knows how to say is check hook, check hook, check. Do you know what a check hook is? No. You clearly don't, because every hook that's thrown is a check hook. That's what he says. Arrow, check hook, check hook. People in the chat saying Claudia Trejos is good. I'm not big on her.
She's not bad.
Yeah.
She's not bad. Compared to the rest of them, she's actually decent compared to the rest of them. Then Chris Mannix is trying to start a fight with Sergio Mora. Doesn't he know Sergio Mora used to box before?
What did he say? I missed that. I probably fell asleep during the wait.
He was questioning, Sergio Mora was saying that, Anthony Joshua doesn't need another trainer. Anthony Joshua doesn't care if the fight was in the UK. And then Chris Mannix was like, well, I disagree with Sergio. I think, there were a lot of fighters that benefited from getting a new trainer. Like Miguel Cotto did better with Freddie Roach. Vladimir Klitschko and Lennox Lewis did better with Emmanuel Stewart. Like, he kept rattling off names. Like Manny Pacquiao did better with Freddie Roach. And he goes, I can go on and on and on. And then he was basically getting up in fucking Sergio Mora's face, trying to prove he knows more about boxing than Sergio Mora. And you could tell Sergio Mora was getting a little pissed about it. You don't grandstand
Nah.
It's one thing kidding around with each other and stuff.
Right.
You could tell he was grandstanding, trying to blow up the spot a little bit on Sergio Mora. You don't do that.
Wouldn't it be funny if this Mora just popped off and jabbed him or something like that? Just popped him real quick.
Chris Mannix gets a little cocky sometimes.
Yeah, I'm not a big Chris Mannix fan either.
Yeah, he's a little cocky.
He also reported that, I think it was Mannix that reported it. Mannix and I saw Coppinger reported it too, that apparently outside of Canelo's locker room, that Gervonta Davis and Adrian Bronner apparently got into a fight where Bronner hit him with a right hand and then he threw a haymaker and hit his PR guy or something like that.
He's like a little high school kid, Chris Mannix. Sometimes he loves to spread. He
loves
to spread
that
rumors.
stuff, doesn't he?
He loves that shit.
Stephen Espinosa, because he said sources, him and Coppinger, how they do the sources thing. He said sources said that these two guys got into a fight or whatever. Stephen Espinosa addressed them both. He says, your sources are BS,
Someone in the chat, Outlaw, says you guys don't like any broadcast team. I disagree. I love that Showtime broadcast team. I don't mind
the Showtime broadcast team either. Yeah.
I love Al Bernstein. I absolutely love Al Bernstein. I like Paulie Malignaggi a lot.
I like the Sky broadcast team too.
I even like Murrow. Murrow. Murrow Ronaldo actually grew on me too.
I like Mauro Ronaldo. I've always liked Mauro Ronaldo though.
He brings a lot of energy. He's very entertaining.
I don't like Kellerman. Kellerman's not my favorite.
Kellerman I can't
Kellerman's
stand.
Terrible.
And I love Andre Ward too.
Yeah, I like Andre Ward.
I'm not crazy about Tim Bradley, and I'm not crazy about
Tim Bradley. Tim Bradley sucks.
I'm not crazy about Joe Tessitore.
Yeah, Tessitore sucks too.
And Brian Kenny knows nothing about the sport. Oh
no.
So we get to score that round 9-9? No, Brian, it's a fucking 10-point must system. The only time you can score a round 9-9 is if the guy wins the round and he gets a point taken away by the referee. That's the only way you can score the round 9-9. He's like an idiot. He doesn't know, and he says stupid things. And then I know we're gonna talk about this later, but when the how I pronounce that girl's name?
Estrada.
But who's the girl? What's the girl's name? Sanicia Estrada. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. She gets the other girl there. Got
Esparza.
Cut. Esparza. Yeah. She gets cut, and they're like, "Oh, they're gonna stop the fight." No, the cut was from a fucking headbutt, Brian. They're gonna fucking go to the scorecard, you dummy. He doesn't even know the fucking rules of the sport. And he's a fucking commentator.
Outlaw really showing the respect for the broadcast team. He said there are no perfect broadcast team guys.
Yeah, but
maybe they should get one. What do you think?
That broadcast team is a train wreck. Okay, that's a train wreck. There's not one good person on that broadcast team. Not one. At least ESPN has Andre Ward.
That's right. Reese Mack just says, I think Max Kellerman just voted thumbs down to this live chat. How dare you, Max Kellerman?
Max Kellerman listened to the show last week And he actually made an apology video because he listened to the show last week. I'll have you know. All right? I sent it to Eric.
That's right. That's right. Reese Mack says, what's Jim Lampley been up to lately? I don't know. He hasn't called me to ask me anything, so I don't know what he's up to.
But Equal Warrior says, why do you dislike Max Kellerman? I don't dislike him. I just don't think he's a good commentator.
Why do we dislike Max Kellerman? I don't like him. I don't like his face. How about that? Yeah, there you go.
I actually took a picture with Max Kellerman one time at one of the HBO fights.
Yeah, you and Max Kellerman, huh?
I don't have anything.
Max Kellerman.
I don't have anything against him personally. I just don't like him. I just don't think he's a good commentator. I think he tries to like fit in too much wherever he goes.
He's a homer. He's a homer.
He's a homer.
Because you know what? When he was on HBO, he was all over Triple G's nuts. And then he goes, now he's on ESPN, then he's down in Triple G, that says, dude, get a grip. I mean, listen, you whatever way the wind is blowing, that's which way he's pointing.
And that's why he made the apology video, because if everyone, like, if no one called him out for saying that, for saying what he said about Vosdick, he wouldn't have said, I'm sorry. That was like a half-hearted apology. Really was.
Claudio Monreal says Eric hates cupcakes. I love cupcakes. Just not on my boxing broadcast. That's all. Just, hey.
I like cupcakes like on Valentine's Day.
I love cupcakes. I tell you that.
Christmas Day dessert.
Nothing like a cupcake, I tell you.
Sunday brunch every once in a while. Throw a nice cupcake, red velvet style, baby.
Oh, yeah.
When I'm watching boxing. All I want is a Coke Zero when I'm watching boxing.
That's all I need.
Caffeine-free Coke Zero, because I'm amped up enough.
Dr. Mofongo says Kellerman's smart, great historian, but he wears his pom-poms too much sometimes.
Yeah, he's great at looking at Wikipedia.
Yeah, he loves box rec.
No disrespect, but anyone could be a historian. All you got to do is just read.
Just read. That's all you got to do.
Anyone could be a historian. You just got to read.
That's it. All right, let's go to the phones here. 312. You've been on for a little bit. You're live. Or maybe you're not.
Yo.
Hey. Who are we talking to?
Fight Doctor is in the house on Rick James status as always. What's going on, gentlemen?
Fight Doctor, how are you?
What's up, Fight Diddy?
Doing well.
So what'd you think of the fight last night?
Listen, so last night what we saw last night was Canelo Alvarez proving that he is indeed pound for pound number one. However, this fight needs to be put in the proper context. Okay? So, yes, Alvarez goes up 2 weight classes, asterisk, rehydration clause, in parentheses. But he goes up 2 weight classes to fight a guy weakened by the rehydration clause who in his last fight was literally 2 punches away from retirement. Now, look, I've called up to this show before, and I've told you guys in the past who I thought was pound for pound number one, and that is Canelo Alvarez.
Yeah, you've always had Canelo.
And
always.
So.
Props.
He has,
always.
Yeah, he's pound for pound number one, and last night we saw why. Okay, but at the same time, the guy that he was fighting, like Beeb said earlier, was not the crusher. Okay, that was another guy, Sugar. I like to call him Sugar Sergey. But he was not the crusher Kovalev. The crusher Kovalev is dead. Andre Ward killed him a few years back. So, I'm not ready to say that this guy is beating the top guys at 175. Competitive, yes. Beating them, I don't know. I mean, if that were a better Beeb in the ring last night, I would have been a different fight, I think. Yeah. So he beat a guy who was 2 punches away from retirement in his last fight. Literally 2 punches away from retirement. But, having said that, I thought Alvarez looked good. He's making his case for, he's already made his case for pound, and now, he's working on the historical aspect of his career, So I'm not ready to put him amongst the greats at middleweight yet, but he's certainly making his case, You know, and I thought he looked good last night. You know, I don't know what the hell Kovalev is doing with that ineffective jab. I mean, listen, the purpose of a jab is to first of all, it's a punch, okay? Which means you're supposed to hit the guy and it's supposed to hurt. It's supposed to stop a guy in his tracks. It's supposed to keep him off balance, keep him off rhythm. Kovalev's quote unquote jab was not accomplishing any of that last night. It was more of a bother. It was more of a nuisance than anything else. He wasn't even attempting to land it flush. Okay? That's how ridiculous his jab is. And Kovalev is a guy who actually used to have a good jab. I don't know what the hell happened last night, but, you know, he's a guy who actually used to have a good jab, and now it's just sort of like the jab was sort of like, as Beeb said, a get-off-you type of punch. You know, so, yeah, I think Kovalev probably needs to give retirement a long, hard look. And, you know, anytime guys are coming up from 160, rehydration clause or not, anytime a guy comes up from 160 and puts you down in the manner in which you were put down, then yeah, it's probably, I think the curtain has you know, it's curtain call.
Where did you hear there was a rehydration clause?
Before you get.
I heard that as well. I heard it was 185 was a rehydration clause, but I couldn't get that confirmed anywhere.
I didn't hear that anywhere.
Yeah,
that there was a rehydration clause. I don't mean to cut you off, but I was just curious. Where did you hear that from, Fight Doctor?
Yeah, that was a rumor going around, but I don't know if it was true or not.
It's been going around, you know, the YouTube boxing community.
Yeah,
since Friday.
Yeah, you can't really. I didn't see it any legitimate place.
I don't know how true it is.
I don't. I think it would have been put out there by a big source, a reliable source, if it was true.
Right. Just like the Bronner Tank Davis fight.
These YouTube guys like to start a lot of rumors. Man.
Well, listen, it may have indeed been a bullshit rumor. I don't know. That's just what I heard. I heard it from several different places, so I just sort of figured that it was true. But listen, it could be complete bullshit. Who knows? You know. And I tell you, if it's true that there was no rehydration clause, and this puts Canelo in the better light because now he beat a guy at 175 without any tricks or any bullshit or any games with the weight or whatever it might be. But he did get Kovalev at the right time. I hesitate to call this a cherry pick, but it has like cherry pick flavor about it. I mean, let's be honest.
Well, he was picked for a reason. I don't think there's any question about that.
Yeah.
He was picked for a reason, but I would. It was tough to call him a cherry pick, though.
Okay, and
you know, like he wasn't a good fighter or something.
He was picked for a reason, and the reason why he was picked. Well, let's be honest, all right? Let's be honest. He was picked for a reason, and the reason being is that he was literally 2 punches away from retirement in his previous fight. Okay, all right. That's the reason why he was picked. He was picked because listen, Kovalev was picked because they were looking for the outcome that they got last night, and they got what they were looking for. Okay, and that's the reason why Kovalev was picked, because he was ripe for the taking. He was ripe for the picking. Okay, and that was proven last night. Kovalev has been finished. Kovalev was done after the Ward knockout. He was done. Okay, he was done. He was finished. You know, the secret was out, the jig was up, and everyone has capitalized on it since. Yard almost capitalized. If Yard were a little less green, we wouldn't be talking about this fight because it wouldn't have happened because Yard would have knocked him out. Okay, now that's not the shit on Canelo, but look, it is what it is. But you know, listen, last night was Canelo's night. We need to give him all the credit in the world. At least he had the cojones to go up 2 weight classes and fight a legitimate threat, unlike some other guys. Hint, hint, wink, wink, Lomachenko, who
he hates the Europeans, doesn't he?
Probably at this point the most, you know, who is probably at this point the most protected fighter in boxing. You know, I was actually saving that designation for Canelo, but if it's true that the fight was not, there was no rehydration clause for the fight last night, then I think that title rightfully now belongs to Lomachenko. as the most protected fighter in boxing, whom I don't envision will be fighting anyone of any relevance anytime soon. So, and with that, I'll leave you guys.
All right, good deal. Thank you so much, Fight Doctor. We appreciate the call.
His calls are so good.
He's always good. You may not agree with everything he says, but he's always got good points. He's always my one thing is I think he's a little bit biased against the European guys, but hey, he's right. But you know what? In fairness, though, and to Fight Doctor's credit, he has always had Canelo ranked pound for pound number one. He was always on his top level. Even with Terrence Crawford and everything like that, he's always he's always had it. So he's always had him up there. Even over Terrence Crawford. Hand wraps, thank you so much, man.
He asked a great question. He says, "Is Canelo finally undisputed pound for pound number one?" And I think we kind of answered that. But,
I think so. Yeah, I think again, man. Who do you put there?
My answer is yes.
Four division champion.
Yeah, my answer to that question is yes. Hand wraps.
Yeah, he's got to be the best pound. I mean, he's the money guy. He's got to be, right?
Yeah.
And if he stays there, they were rumored. The trainer says that they want him to fight at cruiserweight at some point. That they're going to try to move him up to cruiserweight.
Wow.
Yeah, right.
That's no joke.
Yeah. So I mean, and Canelo's got big fights. He's only fighting big fights. It's tough to go against him, man. And who's Crawford fighting next? He's fighting. I
don't even know who the guy is.
Edgeskluski or something like that. I mean, I know who the guy is. I mean, we've seen him fight before. We've seen him fight quite often, honestly. I can't remember his name, but that's not a.
We can't even remember his name. How do we see him fight so often if we can't remember his name?
Once you see, you'll know who I'm talking about. You'll know who I'm talking about. The Russian guy.
Velasquez or something like that.
Kavaluskis. That's it. Kavaluskis. Edges Kavaluskis.
Oh, yeah. I've seen him fight a few times, yeah.
Yeah. So, like I said, man, he, that's not the fight anybody wants to see.
Kavaluskis.
Yeah, Kavaluskis. That's not the fight anybody wants to see, so I don't know, man. Canelo's fighting fights that people want to see, like legit fights.
Yeah.
He just is.
That's true.
And you can throw, hey, what about Terrence? Well, Terrence Crawford's on, he's on with Top Rank and he can't fight anybody. Listen, find a way to get it done. Listen, excuses, find a way to get it done. And I think Terrence Crawford, listen, man, I tell you what, after watching the Errol Spence fight, man, I think Terrence Crawford beats Errol Spence. After seeing that Errol Spence-Sean Porter fight, man, I think that Terrence Crawford beats him. I really do.
You got to understand that these guys are fighting each other. Porter, Spence, Thurman, Danny Garcia, and even Manny Pacquiao's in the mix now. There's no one over on Crawford's side to really test himself. I mean, these guys are all...
They're all on the other side of the fence.
They're all top guys, so when they fight each other, the fights are going to look a lot more competitive.
That's true. That's true too.
So we haven't seen Crawford in there with someone.
But Crawford just recently said that he would fight Sean Porter. But again, how are you going to get that fight made? I don't know.
It can get done.
I think so too. Area code 805. 805. You're live.
Hey guys, what's up?
Hey, what's happening?
Hey, not much.
What's up, Nacho?
Just real quick, nothing much, Beeb. As far as the fight last night, I honestly thought that Canelo didn't really do much as far as throwing and landing a lot of shots to win rounds. And I honestly think if the KO doesn't happen, my prediction would have come true, guys, of Canelo winning a possible controversial decision.
Yeah, that's what you said,
two of the cards had in 96, 94, and then the other one was a draw.
Yeah.
So this idea that Canelo was dominating the fight last night, I found it kind of funny because it was like, no, he was not. That fight, to me, Kovalev was winning based on the fact that he was able to keep him at bay pretty much the majority of the fight. Canelo didn't really do anything to convince me that he would be competitive against any other light heavyweight. He was doing just enough to hang around, and Kovalev was the one that was just piling up the points, in my opinion. So I was totally surprised when I saw that two of the judges had him winning. I was like, what the hell kind of fight were they watching? Like, there's no way that he was winning at any point on that in that fight. So for them to have him winning 6 of the first 10 rounds, I was completely stunned. But in a way, I'm not, because like I called it. I figured if it went the distance, they were gonna give it to Canelo somehow. But he knocked him out, and the controversy didn't happen. But I was pretty close to my prediction coming true.
Yeah, you really
So
were.
That was pretty.
You were.
Pretty interesting if that would have happened. Yeah. As far as the other fight with Ryan Garcia and Duno, I'm shocked that Garcia blew him out of the water that quickly. I thought that Duno was going to make him work and he was going to give him a legit tough fight. But you got to give Garcia credit. The adjustments that the Reynosos have made as far as teaching him how to use his jab and then throw his right hand behind it with speed has made a huge difference in his offensive game, because that's what he got Duno with. Duno stood there and basically got blinded with the right hand down the middle, and then he came over the top with the left hook to hit him right on the temple, and that was it. It was good night. So it was pretty shocking that he blew him out. It's a really good win for Garcia. The thing is, I don't know who you put in there next for him, because he's at that point where he shouldn't be fighting guys that are prospects, but I'm not sure if he's ready to be called a contender either. He's kind of in this weird, in between spot of like, he's not good enough to me to beat the top 10, 15 guys in the division, but he's definitely better than, guys who are maybe top 20, top 25. So it'll be interesting to see what his next fight's going to be, especially now that Golden Boy's paying him so much money with his new deal. And then the other card, Burchell looked awesome last night. He pretty much took it to Sosa, and Sosa had no answer. Sosa just got steamrolled in that fight. He tried to keep him off of him, and he tried to fight back, but Burchell just took him apart with body shots and hooks and right hands to the head, and he won really easily. They keep talking about Oscar Valdez, being his next opponent, but I mean, I think at this point he's got to fight somebody else with a title. Ideally, I'd like to see him fight Herring if Herring wins this weekend coming up, because Herring has been accusing him of going out of his way of ducking him and not wanting to fight. So I really hope that Burchell and his team at some point just kind of make the offer and try to get the fight done, because it feels like Herring thinks he can beat him, and other people do too. So I'd like to see if Burchell can get Herring out of there and maybe unify at least part of the division, because the other guy with the belt is Farmer, and they say he's going to possibly fight Jojo Diaz early next year. So that should be a good fight as well. And then the other, the PBC card that they showed last night.
That was terrible, son.
Castaño took apart Omatoso. Which I figured he would beat him, because to me, Omatoso is kind of a blown-up welterweight fighting at 54, and that Curtis Stevens win was kind of a, mirage. I didn't think that he's a legit 54, and Castaño proved that he wasn't, and he beat him pretty easily in that fight. I'd like to see him get a shot at one of the other guys in the PBC, whether it's Williams or the other Charlo brother, or someone else. Hopefully he'll get maybe even a Lara rematch at some point. The guy deserves a big fight, because these guys like Omotoso aren't on his level. He's better than those guys, without a doubt. And what was it? Real quick, and you guys were talking about, because Fight Doctor brought it up. I actually did see one person bring up the rehydration clause. That was a legit journalist, and that was Dan Raphael. Dan Raphael reported on Friday that supposedly there was overnight rehydration clause instituted where Kovalev couldn't gain more than 10 pounds, but it was only up until the Saturday morning.
Yeah, like the morning of
weigh-in.
the weigh-in or something
So
like
even
that.
if Kovalev just put on, even if Kovalev just put on the 10 pounds Saturday morning, he still had plenty of time to rehydrate and eat and everything else. So he definitely wasn't 185 by the time he went into the ring last night anyway. So I don't think that was really, it should be a really big deal because Kovalev still looked like the bigger guy in the ring anyway, as far as, weight.
How would Dan Raphael know that though? Like sometimes he puts bullshit out too. Like he was.
How dare you?
Like he put out that Danny Garcia got like Errol Spence got $3 million for that fight, and he did, and he got 1.5. One of the fights that Ocampo fight, he put out that the Lamont Peterson fight.
Okay.
He said, oh yeah, Errol Spence is getting $3 million, and then we found out it was reported that he got 1.5 to the commission. So like I don't know, man. I still don't believe that.
That's Dan Raphael you're talking about, Beeb.
Yeah, who cares?
Dan Raphael, you're putting the poor mouth on.
He's like the rest of them. He's like the rest of them that can't wait to put out a story.
Oh, stop it.
Man, Beeb is just killing Dan Raphael tonight.
Oh. And he's got the nicest things to say about Beeb. It's horrible.
That's the only quote-unquote legit. That's the only quote-unquote legit reporter I saw bring it up because I didn't hear anybody else say anything about a rehydration clause except for him.
Yeah.
No one else came out and said that there was anything put in. So, I mean, I'm just telling you guys that he was the only guy I saw reporting it. So, it is what it is. It could be true or it could be complete bullshit. Who knows?
Yeah.
So.
Sorry, Nacho. I didn't mean to shoot the messenger.
And, I'll talk to you guys next week. No, it's okay, Beeb. All right, guys.
I wasn't taking a shot at Notch. I was just taking a shot at Dan.
Hey, what are you taking a shot at Dan for? What did Dan ever do to you?
Listen, I'm sorry that you send him Christmas cards and you like the guy, but what's
wrong with that?
I got to be honest. I got to be objective here. I know you guys go golfing every now and then, but still.
So what? Well, I mean, I could criticize him too, but I mean, you're just taking shots at him.
That's what I do, man.
My God.
Call me Beeb the Sniper.
He's got a family, Beeb. Take it easy.
All right. I respect his family. It doesn't mean doesn't mean I can't criticize him.
I think this is Chicago too. 773. I think it's Chicago. Maybe
That's Chicago.
That's Chi-Town. 773. You're live.
What's going on? You know what? Okay, so Canelo Alvarez. There was a rehydration clause. Boxing Scene reported it. It's on the website Boxing Scene, and Michael Montero reported it, and he said that they didn't want to talk about it. It was hush hush. I guess there's somewhere in the contract that they don't want to talk about it. It's supposed to be kept secret. It's not supposed to be part of the narrative because it's going to make Canelo look bad, and so they didn't want to talk about it. But yeah, there's a rehydration clause. 10 pounds Saturday morning. He weight trained Kovalev on a 2-month turnaround where he's one punch away from getting knocked out against Anthony Yard. I mean, he was concussed badly against Yard. He was one punch away from being retired. And that's why people say it's a cherry pick. Kovalev asked for more time. He said, let me give about 6 or 8 more weeks to heal up, let my brain heal. I was concussed badly. And Canelo said, nope, no way. And on top of that, I'm going to put in a rehydration clause. And Kovalev said, yep, no problem. I want that $15 million paycheck. And you could just tell he was happy to be there. He wasn't fighting like he was against Yard with that paycheck on the line. He was happy to be there. Wasn't putting the pressure. Just pimping out that jab, sticking that jab out. Not like he was against Yard, was really throwing it. And that's why people say it's a cherry pick, because Kovalev is war-torn. His chin is deteriorated. He was nearly knocked out his previous fight 2 months ago. You're not fully healed in 2 months. You got to give it 6, 7, 8 months to heal. you remember that UFC fight with Stipe Miocic and Daniel Cormier?
Yeah.
Stipe Miocic had a quick turnaround against Daniel Cormier before he fought Francis Ngannou. He took big shots against Francis Ngannou, quick turnaround against Cormier, and he got knocked out against Cormier. When Stipe Miocic, he took a year off, let his brain heal, recovered, and what happened in the rematch, Stipe Miocic ate all those shots, was never rocked, and he ended up knocking out Cormier. So when people say you need time to heal, you need to prepare for a camp, it's all about conditioning. It's about healing up. It's about having proper rest time for your brain. That's what it's about. And Canelo didn't give him the time. It was cherry picking. He cherry picked an old man who was war torn, been knocked out by Ward, knocked out by Alvarez, nearly knocked out by Yard. And people saying, "Oh, this is the fight that's going to give him into the Hall of Fame. This is the fight that's put him into number one." Come on, man. He turned down Deverchenko. He got his belt stripped because he didn't want to fight his mandatory.
He claims he didn't know anything about that.
Terrence Crawford.
He claims he didn't know anything about that.
Yeah,
He said that was a Golden Boy thing, and that's why they had the fallout.
Oh yeah, it was Golden Boy. I didn't know that. Yeah, that's what they said. Of course, it says that. He was just mandatory for a long time, and he turned it down. He got stripped. He knew all about it. This is not rocket science. You got a mandatory. We got a certain amount of time. They kept negotiating, pushing it back, and eventually they took his belt away because he wouldn't fight the mandatory. And he's probably shocked because he's a diva and he gets all these special privileges that he didn't think they would take his belt away, but got it taken away because he didn't fight his mandatory. At least Terrence Crawford is fighting his mandatories. Kalbakaskis, he's the number one, the mandatory. And I heard you say something. No one's looking forward to that fight. Well,
nobody is.
They stalled this fight for 2 hours. They prioritized UFC over this fight. There was no buzz around this fight. People knew it was a cherry pick. They knew Kovalev was prime for the taking, way past his prime. I mean, there's so many prime fighters between 160, 168, 175 he could have fought, and he fought an old man who was nearly knocked out by a rookie, Anthony Yard, 2 months ago. I mean, he could have fought Smith, Caleb Plant, Billy Joe Saunders, Charlo, Andrade. He could have rematched even Golovkin. Instead, he fought an old, war-torn Kovalev. Hydration clause. People saying, "Oh my gosh!" And on top of that, he was getting picked apart the whole fight. But his chin couldn't hold up because he's an old man, been in too many wars. And that dude's saying Lomachenko. Talk about Lomachenko. This is ridiculous, man. The diva is a drug cheat. He failed drug test.
He didn't fail any drug test except for the one with Triple G. That was it.
Oh, just the one, huh?
Just the one.
Just the one, yeah.
Just the one. How many drug tests has he failed?
He got for it too.
What's that?
He failed the drug test. Yes or no?
Yeah, he did. No question about it. He was suspended and everything.
The drug test? Yes or no?
Yes.
Yeah, we just said that.
He failed the drug test. He's a drug cheat.
He's a drug cheat.
He's a drug cheat.
So do you think he'll fail the test for this fight? When the results come back?
I don't know. Who knows? Either way.
So you still think he's on drugs, though?
We'll have to wait and see. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. All right.
I think he is. But drug cheats aren't number one pound-for-pound fighters. Drug cheats are not number one pound-for-pound fighters. That's not how it works. So, anyway, that was a cherry pick. Everyone knows it. It was a cherry pick, clear as day. Kovalev on a 2-month turnaround where he almost got knocked out. You need 6 to 8 months to heal from something like that. He had no business fighting in a 2-month span.
Let me ask you a question. Do you think 6 or 8 months would have made a difference? Realistically, would 6 or 8 months would have made
a little bit.
Do you think Canelo still wins the fight, though?
I think he would have been able to take a better shot.
Do you think Canelo? You think he could have took that shot?
I think he would have been better prepared.
Do you think he wins the fight?
I think he'd been better prepared.
But do you think he wins?
I think he would have won the fight.
You think Kovalev would have beat him?
I think he would have beat him.
Wow.
He was beating him. He was beating him up until the 11th round. He got knocked in the 11th round.
I had him
And that
winning the
was,
fight too. Yeah.
Weight trained.
Wow. I don't know.
He was winning the fight, and they were going to rob him either way.
Who am I talking
They
to
were
here?
gonna rob
What's your
him.
name? What's your name?
They were going to rob him if he didn't get the knockout.
Who am I
Kevin.
speaking with? Kevin. Okay, Kevin. That's awesome, man. This is your first time calling in?
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome, man. Well, I'm glad you listened, man. I'm glad you called in.
Where you from, Kevin?
Chicago.
Yeah, man.
Chicago?
It's a shame
You
how
can tell he's
they
from
do this in
Chicago.
boxing.
You can tell he's got like a Chicago. You can tell he's got a Chicago accent.
Yeah. Kevin, you know what? We don't agree with everything you said, but I like your I like what you bring to this call. I like this
Yeah.
call. It's been a good call. But
I like it, man.
Informative call. You spoke your mind. You weren't afraid to hold anything back.
Love it.
Give you full credit for this call.
I appreciate that. I mean, think about the contenders that Canelo could have fought. Billy Joe Saunders, Jermell Charlo,
Andrade.
Demetrius Andrade, Caleb Plant,
I wouldn't even say he could have fought one of the
Callum
Charlos.
Smith.
I wouldn't say he could fight one of the Charlos. They're on the other side of the street.
Archer Beterbiev,
Yeah.
Bivol,
Yeah.
all these top fighters in their prime. Instead, he picks a 37-year-old Kovalev who almost got knocked out his last fight. And people saying that's not a cherry pick, just ridiculous, man. There's some Canelo fanboys. It's getting out of hand, but I'm going to let you guys get to the next caller.
All right, man. Thank you so much for calling in, man. We appreciate it.
Thank you, Kevin.
Look at that. First-time caller. Love it. Love it. He brought it,
great.
too. He brought
That
it.
That was great. He put you in your place. I love that.
He did. He did. He absolutely did.
Coach has been
Sometimes I have to be disciplined, you know. Who knows? I mean, what happens?
Coach has been away for a while. So this guy
Coach has been locked up. Is that what you're saying?
So this guy had to call in to give you the work.
Coach has been locked up.
What's going on with Coach, man? I miss Coach.
He's in a Baltimore jail right now.
Come on, don't take shots at Coach just because he lit you up.
I didn't. I'm just. That's what I heard.
Please.
That's what I heard.
You're worse than Dan Raphael with these rumors.
I heard it from credible sources. All right. Speaking of Coach, 443. You're live, Baltimore.
This is my man Wood.
Yeah, what's up, man? Y'all can hear me?
Wood, what's up?
Yes, what's up?
Hello?
How you doing, buddy?
Yeah,
we
what's
hear you.
happening, man?
I'm pretty good in y'all, man. Pretty good in yourselves. Man,
Good.
this man, I don't mean to sound like I don't mean to be the one with the 10-4 hat on today, but it was something was rotten in Denmark last night, man. Something was very rotten in Denmark.
Oh my goodness!
That's the old saying.
Come on.
Something was rotten in Denmark, man.
No, not you.
Heaven, yes, Heaven Sabesky. Remember the old saying, Heaven Sabesky? Something was rotten in Denmark, man. Heaven Sabesky, man. Something is rotten. Heaven Sabesky. Something is rotten in Denmark.
No, you're not you're not on that conspiracy theory, are you?
Man, nah, I'm not on that, man. I'm the one. I looked at this thing about 15 times and it looked like Kovalev was out back teaching his little son how to box, man. It looked like he was sparring with his little son, calling his punches, trying not to hurt him, man. I haven't seen Kovalev fire that one hard. He did everything at the same tempo. He didn't change up nothing, everything at the same tempo. Even Canelo don't do the same thing. This shit seems so rehearsed. It seems like they rehearsed this shit like an old James Cagney fight scene and shit, man. That's all old Batman fight scene when you hear that pow, bear, it just seems
man.
It just seems so choreographed, man. It just seems real, man. It just seems.
What said this was
No.
a Jack? He said it's a Jackie Chan movie.
I saw those videos. I saw those videos earlier today. I saw those videos earlier today talking about the fight was fixed. Oh, come on, man.
That's why I watched it. That's why I watched it so many times. So well, I won't be that. I hate that guy. I hate that guy to say. I hate that guy. That's why I had to watch it so many times to see. Try not to be that guy, but God damn it, I'm that guy. Heaven's the bestie. Heaven's the bestie. I'm that guy, man. It just seemed like they was just outside in the backyard horsing around, man. It just seemed like they was out back just playing around with his little child.
Did you see the knockout? Did you see the knockout?
Man,
that was fake.
Man,
come on,
he
man.
Fell down. He fell down like somebody shot him from a watchtower or something. He fell like a sniper hit him. Canelo don't have that type of power, man. Y'all think Canelo got that type of power, man?
Oh my
When you
goodness,
last
man.
time you seen the last person Canelo knocked out like that was Amir Khan, and you know Amir Khan need a chin transplant, man. Like yesterday, man. He can't take no power. He needs a chin. He need a chin transplant like yesterday, man. So just go back and see how he was pulling on. He was pulling the jab. He didn't throw no right hands. He didn't throw no right hands. He didn't change up anything. He didn't try to do no. As tall as he is, with Canelo in the high guard, that's all he had to take his lead hand and just keep putting it on top of blind him and go to the body. He didn't do no blinders or anything. He didn't do nothing. He didn't do anything to try to break Canelo down. He just went playing around, cat, and Canelo just followed him around like he Jason. Just follow him around like he the boogeyman and shit. Yeah, that's all you need is some scary movie theme and Canelo walking forward and Kovalev his back and that's it. Oh man, come on, man. The same rhythm, man. This just didn't seem like a real fight. It just seemed staged and choreographed. That's why they took so long in the back. They was out there working out the plans, man. How they gonna pull this shit off? That's why they delayed the shit, man.
They were going over the choreograph in the back.
I don't want to keep on beating the. Yeah, they was back there on some Michael Jackson thriller choreograph shit. Your butt is mine. You go left, I go right. They was back there choreographing that shit for hours, man. That's what happened, man. But I don't want to be that guy for too long, man. I let somebody else get on, man. But the shit seems something. Something ain't right in Denmark, man. That's all I gotta say, y'all. I'm out of here, y'all. Peace, man.
All right, Wood. I knew somebody would come and get it, man. I knew somebody would fall for it.
They're in the back writing shit down. Okay, you go. I'm gonna hit you with the friggin' sharpshooter.
Listen. There's a lot easier ways to take a dive than to get hit flush with a left and right, man. I don't
know how you can fake rolling your eyes in the back of your head like that, but I don't know.
Oh my goodness. 706. 706, you're live.
What's going on, guys?
What's happening, Jason?
Jason!
Huh?
Bunch of people reported about that fight cause fight week, which is kind of weird how it kind of went under the radar, for the whole training camp.
Yeah,
Because that's probably why, because they probably had penalties in there, didn't want people to know, which is kind of shady, but that's probably kind of hard, man.
Made a difference.
Yeah, but I've heard some fighters gain like 20 pounds overnight, so that's probably kind of hard for a big ass guy like Kovalev. That's probably already drained to just gain 10 pounds. That's probably hard. You gotta fucking ration your food and shit overnight, eat little portions and shit. So that can't be good.
Can only have one piece of chicken, not two.
Yeah, and look at people, dude. All these fucking idiots. I'm not the biggest Canelo fan, but I don't think there was anything fixed about that fight. The guy, look at the fucking kind of amount of trauma and fucking big shots that guys had taken the past 2 years. Like Ward landed huge shots on Kovalev, like he rattled the shit out of him. His chin was never the same after that. Then the leader Alvarez fucking destroyed him in that first fight, like just totally. He was like lying on the fucking canvas for a few seconds. Remember that? How bad he knocked him out?
Yeah.
And then he had like one or two fucking tune-ups with like Shabrinsky or something, some fucking bums.
and then he got hurt by fucking Yard, a guy that didn't even have a fucking sparring partner. So if you're getting fucking hurt by a guy like Yard, what do you think Canelo's gonna do? It's gonna happen. It just took Canelo time because that was the first fight at 175. Usually when people move to fucking 170, another weight class, they usually fight a fucking bum first, you know? So, I mean, he fought fucking Kovalev. That was his first fight. I mean, I'm sure in his second fight at 175, he'll probably be a little bit better, right, Beeb? He'll probably settle into the weight a little bit more?
Yeah.
What do you think?
He'll be better, I think. I think he'll be better.
Yeah, so he was a little lethargic. He looked a little lethargic, you know, a little bit slower. And Ward said that. He said he shouldn't probably try to gain a lot of muscle. He should just try to come in around 168 to 170. It doesn't matter if you're big. As long as you have that speed, you're going to be good. So maybe he doesn't need to be that big. He looked a little bigger, you know. He didn't need to be that big. Also, what do you guys think about those fucking idiots at the zone waiting till 1 a.m. and playing the UFC event in the MGM?
Not
to call Dana White and ask permission to
It's
play
insane.
the pay-per-view.
That's insane.
Not good.
It's fine.
Yeah, I mean, they made those guys wait for close to 2 hours.
Before, you know?
Close to 2 hours they made them wait.
They're idiots, man. They should have I mean, I don't think there was that much of an overlap. Maybe like 5 or 10% of fans. But if you lose that, you lose that. I mean, you gotta, you know, you're getting a lot of bad headlines. People are tweeting about canceling your fucking app. Like they were trending like for bad reasons last night. There were so many bad tweets about it at the zone last night.
Oh, it was nuts.
Even some celebrities like Charlamagne the God. Yeah, so many negative tweets and shit. But dude, this is the second week in a row where these so-called media experts fucking overhyped some fucking no-name dude. Last week it was Joed Gonzalez was supposed to be a tough dude. This week it was supposed to be fucking Romero Duno. Like that just tells me whenever fucking piece of shit morons like Steve Kim and Dougie Fisher Montero said these are some tough guys, you should just assume the opposite. You know, every week they tell you these guys are just tough because Top Rank and Golden Boy fucking PR staff is fucking feeding them lunch after lunch. Like eat
guys are friends of the show,
and so they've got to write those fucking good articles. Fuck that, dude. But you know, every tweet they're fucking pushing these bullshit ass bums, and then when you got fights like Spence versus Porter or Wilder versus Ortiz, they're like fucking lifting their noses up and like, oh, that's not a great fight. What, dude? Wilder versus Ortiz is like 100 times better fight than the fight that we saw last night. That fight alone will be better than the whole card we saw last night. That's guaranteed. That's gonna be a fucking.
Dude,
have you
that
guys
fight,
seen Ortiz on Fight Camp?
Son, that fight is
guy's
a
looking like a fucking
walkover.
human.
What are
He's
you
like
talking
chill, dude.
about? That Ortiz Wilder fight is a complete walkover. Are you serious? What's Ortiz, like 90 years old?
Wilder almost got knocked out in the first round. Are you
Come
fucking
on.
drunk?
Come on,
Wilder almost got
son.
knocked out in the last round.
Ortiz
is way better than
95
fucking
years
Kovalev.
old.
Ortiz is way fresher, dude.
Come on, son.
Ortiz is way fresher. Way
Come on,
fresher.
son.
He's a way fresher fighter. Isn't he, Beeb? Beeb,
No.
who's the fresher fighter, Ortiz or Kovalev?
Ortiz. Ortiz.
Go ahead.
You know what? I don't know that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I don't
Eric
know
is
that.
such a moron. He just makes shit up and he's like, oh, no, come on. Dude, come on. Dude, why are you
Jason,
hating on Ortiz? He's so
Jason,
fucking
I don't think
good.
Eric. I don't. You could tell Eric the sky is blue, and if it comes out of your mouth, he's not gonna agree with you. Goes out of his way to argue with you. I think. I
He's
mean,
like Mannix. He's like the Mannix of Ohio, you know? Fucking asshole.
I try to
Dude,
give
Mannix
you.
is a clown, dude.
I try to give you your props when you're right. You know what I'm saying? This guy will never give you. This guy will never give you any credit.
Dude, Mannix is giving Boston a bad name. Boston is catching a lot of L's because of Mannix. What's going on with Mannix?
Yeah, Mannix is not a good ambassador of the sport.
No, he's not. Did you see? Well, you saw. I retweeted you. I retweeted you last night. So you got to thank me. That the whole thing with Steven Espinoza.
I put your. Oh yeah.
Is saying that that fight between Bronner and
but
Davis was like nonsense. You know, he said it was BS.
Yeah.
And nobody. I find it interesting that those two supposedly got into a fight, but nobody had video of it. No video. None.
No, there's video. Dude, there's video. There's like 20-minute video of them horsing around on Ellie Texas channel. So they're like drunk and like falling on the floor, like pushing each other, like, you know, like kids do.
Yeah.
And some idiots in the fucking lobby said, oh my God, they're fucking around, and told Mannix, and that guy's such a clown. He just reported it. And you know, I heard that this guy admitted to knowing about the Kovalev out for 12 months, and he didn't report it. He said, oh, I didn't think it was my duty to report it. Did you know that he admitted it? He knew about the Kovalev case for 12 months, and he didn't report it. What do you think about that?
Who did? What are you talking about now?
Mannix. He knew about the Kovalev case being filed for 12 months. Like,
I see what you're saying.
Like almost like 18 months. Media just didn't report it. It just came out like 2 months ago.
That's a great point,
This
Jason.
guy
That's a
panicked
great
about it for a
point.
year, and he said, he didn't say anything. And all these fuckmarks, Coppinger was the only guy that tried to confront Kovalev, and they threw him out of there. They threw him out of there, man. Remember? A couple of months ago?
Yeah.
Jason's spitting his truth tonight.
But what'd you guys think about Castano versus Alvarez? Did you guys watch that? I think
nobody watched that nonsense last night. Nobody watched that BS,
Dude,
man.
I was counting him for J-Rock.
Come on.
He might fight J-Rock, but come on.
Cares? He can fight Charlie Z next for all I care. I don't
Dude, Charlie Z is wanted.
Charlie Z.
Charlie Z is wanted man, dude. He committed some new assaults. He's wanted man.
What did he do?
Somebody said he was assaulting people in L.A. or somewhere.
Oh, what
he attacked some random people in the street.
I heard he was like giving him gloves and like asking him to fight and then just popping him in the face or something like that. This guy's a fool, son.
Man, Wilder looked like an idiot, man. Wilder looked like an idiot fucking swinging punches at him. Like, he should have just gone to his body. Like, Wilder's always headhunting and shit. I hope he doesn't do that with fucking Ortiz this time, man. Ortiz, did you guys watch the fight camp? And did you see what the ratings they got this past week?
No, who cares?
Did you see that?
No.
2.2 million on Fox, dude.
Who cares?
What do you think about that?
I don't think about it at all. It's just nonsense to me. Who cares?
That's great for the pay-per-view. You're going to be buying the pay-per-view, right? Why don't you watch it?
You know what? I'm not 100% sure I'm buying that pay-per-view. I'll be honest with you. I'm not 100% sure I'm buying that pay-per-view, son. Nope.
Beeb, you're not going to be going to do a fight stream for that fight?
Nobody's buying that nonsense.
I'll buy it. I'm a loser.
Yeah, I'm going to go over Beebs and watch it.
Beeb, are you doing a live fight? You doing a live fight chat or no?
Have Lois bring me a drink.
What,
you know what I'm saying?
for Wilder Ortiz?
Yeah.
Why, you want me to?
Yeah, but I just don't know why you don't do that for PBC, man. You always do that bullshit as the event.
Because it's usually on TV.
If you tell me to do it, I'll do it.
It's on pay-per-view, dude.
If you want me to do it, I'll do it.
That's going to be a war, dude.
He wants to be your friend, Jason.
That's how Billy Beeb.
He wants to be your friend, man. He's asking you.
Fucking training camp. And dude, listen, Ortiz is on snack now. He's on that Victor
Conte. Oh, well.
We need to cover this fight.
You know what I'll do?
Now.
I'll do
a lot of views.
Taking vitamins.
I'll do a live cast. I'll do a live cast for the Fight Camp 360s if you want me to.
No, on YouTube, man. Did you see who was on the undercard? Fucking Luis fucking versus some Martinez guy, and then Figueroa versus Ceja and Leo. Like 3 Mexican warriors. 3 warriors.
That Neri fight is going to be sick. That Neri fight is going to be sick. Who's
that guy he's fighting? What's his name?
Emmanuel Rodriguez.
That's a good fight.
That fight is sick. That fight might be worth it alone.
I heard even Figueroa versus Ceja is a hard fight for. That's what Ceja is. Ceja any good? I haven't seen it much.
Every fight for Figueroa is a tough fight.
What do you think?
I think every fight for Figueroa is a tough fight.
All
right, man. Listen, we got to get going, Jason. All right, man. We'll talk to you soon.
Thanks for the call, Jason.
I'll do anything you want, Jason. If you want me to do that's funny. Do a live cast on the Fightcast 360.
I feel bad for the kid, man. No one gives the kid any love.
You do. 254, you're live. 254.
Hey, good afternoon, gentlemen. Good evening. Sorry about that.
That's okay. Who's speaking with?
Oh, this is Donald from New York. I know I got a 254 number. I used to be in the military.
Oh, okay.
Texas.
Thank you for your service.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for your service, my friend.
No problem. But I got a few questions, and I need y'all to answer these with the utmost honesty.
Yes. That's why we're here.
Call a while back, about 15 minutes. Okay, absolutely. Call a while back named Kevin. He said that fighters can't fight on between 6 and 8 months. They need time to recruit, correct?
Yeah, Chicago, the guy from Chicago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Kevin. So how come the fighters back in the yesteryear was fighting 200 fights when the athletics wasn't as good as it is today? Wouldn't they fight less and we should fight more because we got better? We have better athletics.
He's got a point. Look at some of those guys fought every month, and Chavez Sr. fought every month. Now, granted, he didn't go life and death with Anthony Yard.
Yeah, what about?
But, you know, there's
No, he didn't, but
and
he did get knocked out.
yeah, Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson was another one that they had in the ring like when he first started every month, so he'd stay out of trouble. You know, because they knew he was going to get in trouble. You know.
Okay.
Even Mayweather, he fought in May and then he
I have
turned around
another
and fight in
point.
September.
Yeah.
Yeah. He fought a lot. Mayweather fought a lot at the beginning. So that was just one point I got to check off my list. My second one was Kovalev is 36. Canelo was, I want to say he's 29, correct?
Yeah, I think
but
so.
Kovalev
Yeah.
was old. That's what everybody said. Yeah. Kovalev was old, but nobody, and he came up 2 weight classes, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
But nobody saying anything. When Pacquiao came from lightweight and fought De La Hoya, Pacquiao was 29, De La Hoya was 20, he was 35, and he already got beat 5 times. But he still was the favorite in the fight. Why nobody bringing that up? And he moved up from 108 all the way to 147. Nobody brings that up.
Yeah, I tell you what, you know what? And he was the favorite. I mean, obviously he was the favorite in that fight. And I'll be honest, man, I didn't give Pacquiao a chance in that fight. I didn't give him a chance in that fight. I thought it was a complete
but nobody
cherry
gave
pick.
Kovalev a chance in that fight.
Yeah. Complete
Yeah,
cherry
that's
pick,
the
I
same
thought.
thing, but nobody brings that other thing up. And then I have another one. Hold on, because I've been writing this down. So,
I came prepared. He came
got one
prepared,
more.
this
He's
guy.
got notes and everything,
yeah.
baby.
He's got notes, everything.
Absolutely. I got to write my notes.
He's a military man. What do you
listen,
expect?
now,
Gonna send this
another
guy a
thing,
Ringside Report a T-shirt.
Of course, I got to write my notes. We write everything down. We measured twice in cut one. But
That's
here
right.
goes another one. Everybody's saying, I'm about to say Charlo. Canelo not fighting anybody in their prime. Okay, granted, he fought Laura in his prime. Whether you like the decision or not, he fought Trout in his prime. Whether you like the decision or you don't, Cotto, he wasn't at the end of he wasn't out of his prime, but he was at the end of his prime, so he still was in that realm. He fought Cotto, he fought Jacob, and he fought Triple G. Now, you give me that many people that Charlo and Andre fought in their prime. Just give me 2.
Wow, this guy's
I'm not
bringing the
talking
fire.
about contenders. I'm talking about champs.
He's bringing the fire tonight, this guy.
I need to hear champs that they fought in their prime. But nobody discusses this. Canelo fought a lot of good dudes. Now, Mosley, yeah, he was long in the tooth. I get it. Even Floyd, he wasn't even out his prime, but he extended his prime. So he had Floyd, Lara, Trout, Cotto, Jacob, and to an extent, I can even squeeze Triple G in there. Now, that resume is better than Charlo and Andre. Andre to Andrade. I always get it confused. I think it's Andre.
Yeah.
So they give him all his slack, but they didn't even do 10% of what he's doing now. He's only 29. I think they both older than him, or at least the same age. Now, I know he fought a little more because he was younger, but they were still in the amateurs, and they still had more experience than he did at the time he went pro. So I don't understand the criticism. And the thing about the UFC fight, I had a cousin in Vegas, and then my homeboy was at Madison Square Garden. I watched the fight at the house. They both loved it because he was like, yo, I got to watch the fight on the screen because I couldn't go there because I was stuck in Vegas. And my cousin, like, right after the fight at UFC, everybody got on their phone and started watching the Canelo fight. So even though they say, oh, is it a disgrace, it worked out for everybody because you got to watch, like, the people at the stadium got to get the bang for their buck. They got to watch two fights for the price of one. And then the people that was at the UFC fight, they got to, you know what I'm saying, since it didn't come on at the same time, they got to watch the Canelo fight right after the UFC fight came on. Now, it's probably not the best business move, but it worked out for the fans. And I thought it was all about the fans at one point.
Yeah.
Not everybody talking business.
That's a good way to look
So
at
I think
it.
it worked out for the fans, you know?
That's a good way to look at it.
Yeah.
All right,
You know,
good
and
deal.
like, yeah, I'm not a big UFC fan, but I wanted to see that fight. And I'm like, all right, good. I could watch both of them. I could watch this one. And then as soon as that one went off, Canelo and them started walking in the ring. I was like, yeah. And then everybody complaining, oh, but it was too late. I'm like, you're in Vegas. Who the fuck go to sleep in Vegas 2 o'clock in the morning? You ain't going to the hotel room until like 6:30, 7 o'clock in the morning. You're gonna be in the casino all night.
And it was
Or
10
you're going to the
o'clock.
fight
Yeah.
party right after
The
the
fight
fight.
actually started at 10 o'clock in Vegas.
Yeah, I'm
So
like,
they're 3 hours behind us. So yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know what they was complaining for. Because if you telling me you going to Vegas to watch your fight and go to your hotel room and go to sleep, you full of shit. 'Cause
Loser.
I've been to Vegas plenty of times.
You
I
ain't
don't
going to
even
bed
get
that
back
early.
to my room until the sun come out. No, they were
That's
just
right.
complaining to complain. And I'm like, come on, like stop. The zone is not the best platform. But guess what? I get 2 more fights before the end of the year, and I'm only paying probably at the most $20 until the end of the year. There's a pay-per-view coming this year, like what, Deontay Wilder coming. Like I'm not paying for that. That's $80. No,
I ain't paying. I don't know what I'm paying for it
but I
either.
can pay $8-9 a month. No, I'm not gonna pay for that.
Yeah.
And they forcing it, but I'm gonna watch it, but I'm not gonna pay for it. I'll probably go to a friend house and we'll Andy up. We'll just chip in together. That's the best thing about the zone. You don't gotta even chip in. You just pay that. You could be in your own home with your wife, your kids, and you can just have relaxation. If you drink, get you some champagne or something, or if you smoke, do whatever you do, and then you just have a good time.
Yep.
I don't like a big crowd anyway. I like to watch fights by myself. It'd be too loud, and I can't see what's going on. But then one more thing before I let your brothers go.
Yeah.
That Canelo fight, Cole, I see a lot of people calling it a fix, but if you take a look, when he hit him with that, I think it was the right hook. No, it was the left hook first.
Yes.
No, when he hit him with that right and he staggered him, if you pay close attention, and I want y'all to take a replay later when y'all get a chance, you can see his leg almost bend back like it was about to break, like it locked up.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. It was legit. I mean,
with
anybody
that
saying
straight
it was fixed
right.
is crazy.
Yeah, no. And that straight right nobody said this yet. Nobody I heard. That straight right remind me of when Floyd hit fucking Victor Ortiz. It was the same right. Because remember, Floyd paused, and then he just hit him with that straight right. It was the same exact punch. And then when he fell, if you look real close in between the ropes, you can see like he's still trying to punch in between the ropes. It's like little subtle movements, but it looked like he's still trying to fight. So I was like, yeah, he's out. Because he's still punching and he's laying on the floor. And I forgot it was another fighter that did that back in the early 90s or the late 80s.
Simon Brown. Simon Brown did that. Simon Brown did that.
Yeah.
To Terry Norris?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know what, that right hand, I tell you, that right hand reminded me of the Amir Khan right hand. When he hit Amir Khan and put him to sleep, that's the right hand. That's what it looked like to me.
Yeah, but with the Amir Khan, he came with a right hook.
Yeah.
Canelo came with a straight right.
That was wicked.
And then that left to the temple. That left to the temple. If you look slowly, you can see he's moving his hip. He put everything into that punch.
Right.
From his hip, and that shit came all the way from his knees down. And I was like, yeah, that's a bad punch. And then when I seen him stumble, I said, that's the fight. I just looked at it, I said, that's the fight. And then that straight right hand, I said, yeah, they're going to have to pull him out in the stretcher. Because and then as soon as I get on the internet, it's fixed. It's fixed. I'm like, what? Nobody
nuts.
If it was fixed and he died in the ring, like, come on.
Right.
That was a danger because he didn't have no guards up at all.
No,
he was just wide open. So, I don't know. That's why I don't be listening to certain YouTube stations because they'll just get on there. And I hate to say it, I'm a black brother, but some of my black brothers, they'll just sit there, no, it's fixed. I'm like, really? If Kovalev would have won, you know how much money he would have got for the rematch? You think it's fixed? He wanted to win. It's just that he didn't want to get hit to that body, and Canelo psyched him out. He was thinking body all day and got hit in the head.
It would have been a huge money rematch.
He was thinking body the whole fight.
Huge money rematch.
He probably would have got definitely double what he was. Definitely double.
Yeah,
definitely
for sure. Definitely more money in a rematch than there would have been here. You know what I mean? So, all right, my man, we are going to get moving. We appreciate your call, man. Appreciate your service too, man.
Yeah, I'm absolutely appreciate it. I'm still going to listen, man. Y'all doing a great job, man.
We appreciate it, man. Yeah, don't be a stranger, man. Call in again, man, for sure, man.
Thank you,
Good
brother.
stuff. All right. And from Rikers, Beeb, he owes us a pie.
2 pies.
508. Georgie, where's my pie?
What's going on?
Where's it at?
What's going on? What's up, Alex Jones?
Alex Jones.
I'm trying to be civilized. I'm trying to be civilized about this travesty. Fucking Canelo big riding train coming to a stop. Stopping this madness. Stop a fucking WWE extravaganza we saw last night. Yo, shout out to Woods. Shout out to Woods.
Oh,
My nigga gets it in the Reptilians. This goddamn mafia fixed with shit.
That fight was not fixed
What?
last night, Georgie.
It
Come
was
on,
fixed,
man.
bro.
Come on, son.
Listen, the real question now being asked. The real question now being asked. How many CCs of fucking T-Rex juice was Canelo on last night?
Oh, here we go.
What's up with that?
Oh,
Here we go.
come on.
You don't want to talk about that, huh?
He was
Okay.
VADA cleared.
This man coming
He was
up with
cleared.
weight
He's
classes.
clean. He was clean.
VADA tested, brother.
VADA tested, baby.
And,
Nothing you can do about it. It's clean.
and Santa Claus is coming to town pretty soon too.
Oh, how dare
Whatever,
you.
bro. Look, listen, I'm gonna have to, like a man of my word. I'm gonna have to send the video so you guys can show it next Sunday.
You know what? We can put him on
listen.
live and have him do it with this new software. We can put him on live and have him do it, Beeb. We can have him embarrass himself in front of millions of people live.
All we gotta do is send him a link. He can
Embarrass him.
Come on.
The pie in his
Kick me while
face.
I'm down, Eric. Kick me. Your villain ain't know no fucking boundaries, but that's okay. I love you.
Can't wait to
Hey, yo,
smash that
in all
in your
reality,
face.
listen, all jokes to the side, Kovalev that washed up. Is this man this washed up?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
man.
he's on the way out, man.
Yeah,
It's that time, huh?
It's
It's that time, bro. We cannot deny that nigga gotta go.
yeah,
Yo,
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
talking about Oscar gotta go too, bro.
Oscar's
Oh,
got to
I
go
heard that the
big
whole
time.
thing was organized. Listen, I heard that the whole thing was organized by Oscar. The whole fucking press and the whole thing was like a what you call it, Golden Boy promotion thing. It wasn't really the song. The song was just like transmitting the shit. Am I right or wrong?
Right.
Yeah, I think so.
I think you're right, Georgie.
So I guess the decision to make fucking this shit way late got it right on his fucking cokehead while he's smoking his crack pipe and shit.
Yeah.
First of all, his ego, for some reason, I don't know, man. This man went against the UFC. Why'd you want to do that? That's a self-inflicted one.
That was a dumb move, especially for this
How
fight.
you gonna
It's
go
their
against
biggest
that
card of the
giant?
year. That was a dumb
The
move.
dumbest move ever, man.
It's just like, whatever, man. That nigga got to go. Anyway, yo, I'm a fan of Estrada. Super bad. Yo, that woman is amazing. That she looked like a little Crawford. Tell me she didn't look like bought in there.
Talk about Cienza.
She looked good, Georgie. She looked good.
Yeah,
Yeah,
she was
the
all right.
first fight.
Let's not get carried away.
It's all right. Yeah, I
All
wouldn't.
right now, man.
Yeah,
You guys
it's all right.
tripping. You tripping.
She's all
I
right.
say that girl, if she will be fuck all right. That girl is amazing, bro. Now listen, I think she's better than Clarissa Shields.
I think
If
Georgie's
she
in
would've been on
love.
a powerful- just listen.
Sounds like a man in love to me, buddy.
A lot of people don't. I got a crush. Fuck it. I'm coming out. Listen. These lower, because this is the thing. This is the problem. Like as fans of boxing, we don't see this lower weight division, and we're missing out. Like Chocolatito, only really hardcore push the fucking envelope for Chocolatito. And we never give him credit. Even the motherfuckers give out a bunch of divisions, they just don't get that light. You actually so-called fucking hardcore fans, anybody on fucking on the 112 pounds, they don't know our fucking name. Crap, that's true. Well, that's my 2 cents for the week. I'm gonna pay with the 2 pies next week. And I gotta go, man. Shout out to the UK, shout out to the USA, shout out to the world. Fuck the mafias, and I'm outie.
Georgie. Says the fight was fixed, Beeb. What are you going to do?
I don't know, man. I think everyone wants to talk about drug testing boxers. I think we just got to start drug testing some of these callers, man.
I think so, too. What if we created our own VADA program? Where do the best callers come from, Beeb?
OH!
IO. 614, you're live.
How you guys doing, man?
What's happening, man?
What's going on, baby?
Yeah. What a fight, man! That was crazy. At least, man, I don't get it with these people talking about. Shout out to Georgie and Woods, man. I'm gonna exit them out. I'm just gonna say they were playing. They're just trolling. I'm not even taking them serious. But big fight. Oh my God! Come on, guys. Big.
Right?
We gotta do better. We got to do better. I said this before, and people get mad. Canelo is the next Floyd. He is Floyd. There's nothing he can do, and they always want to find something to point out.
Yeah.
That's just what it is. Boxing. That's why I don't take it personal. I don't get too, mad about it because just people gonna say what they gonna say. Canelo, that was impressive. Definitely for a knockout, a headshot. But we actually got to rewind back. Darnell Boone, dropped Kovalev with some headshots before too. So it's not the first. It's just the first time people seen it on television. Okay. Canelo, Kovalev, I'm hearing people say they felt like it was fixed because they seen Kovalev not really throwing a lot of hard punches and a lot of power punches. He was just jabbing. I've seen him fight like that before with Alvarez, where his second rematch, where he was just trying to, save his energy so he wouldn't be fatigued. So he was jabbing instead of throwing a lot of hard shots. He has a great jab. So I see it was almost like he was trying to do the same thing like he did to Alvarez in the rematch, if y'all remember. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Canelo hit, first of all, even getting to before the fight, I was pissed off because of how late it started, and I was dozing off. I was going to sleep.
It was ridiculous.
Like, what in the world?
Ridiculous.
I was going to sleep when it came down to, but I was just like, man, I was like, man, I woke up. I had to rewatch the fight, but I woke up in the 11th round and actually knocked him out. So I caught that. So I was like, oh, okay. So made it to 11 rounds. Wow. Wow. So I had to rewatch. So but it was just crazy how they did that, making them wait. Didn't like that. Before the Kovalev, man, I think a lot of people didn't want to give him credit for being as made it as far as he made in his career, where they were just overlooking him. I still thought it was a dangerous fight for Canelo, even though I thought he was going to win. I didn't even think Canelo would stop Kovalev. I was one of the ones that said, I just don't know Kovalev. Canelo can just come up and just stop him. Everybody kept saying the body. And I find it funny because most people who were saying Canelo will stop him at the body, Canelo stopped him with the headshot up top. And then they start saying, the same people start saying, oh, I think it's sick. Why? Because your prediction was wrong? Like, really? Now that he don't stop him at the body. No, it's funny to me. He doesn't stop him at the body. He actually, tricks you into your prediction, which I know what's going to happen. You get a lot of those guys that call in. I just know he's going to stop him to the body. That's the blueprint. And he gets knocked out with a headshot. And now it's fixed. You see what I'm saying? So it's so funny when it comes to the boxing and people that don't like boxers, that don't like certain fighters. Canelo, yes, he cheated. Yes, Canelo has cheated before, but so has Roy Jones and many of the other fighters. We ignore.
Well, wait a minute. Wait a minute. Let me just stop you right there. I mean, there's been a lot of boxers that cheat, but clearly no boxers from Ohio have ever cheated.
That's true.
Oh,
that's very true. That's very true. I've never had one boxer that I know of come across my desk that has cheated from the state of Ohio. So maybe this might be something that, quote unquote, everybody does, but you and I both know that not everybody does it.
Good point, Eric.
No, and not to correct me, I don't want to say everybody does. A lot of fighters have done it. Some, like Paulie Malignaggi said, a lot of them that do it won't get caught. But I'm not justifying his behavior either. But I can actually say, you know what, you messed up. It's like Ortiz. People forgot about it. They were praising Ortiz for him almost stopping Wilder in the 7th round. Wasn't nobody talking about him dirty. Wasn't nobody bringing that up. It was just talking about the performance Ortiz had against Wilder. When you don't like a fighter, it's fast for you to forget. If you do like a fighter, it's fast for you to forget what they did in the past. That's all I'm saying. I like Canelo. I call him on the DS when he do it. I do like him, but at the end of the day, you just got to give this man his credit. The only thing I'm worried about with Canelo is him going up and down in the weight. That's the only concern I have. He fought, Danny Jacobs. He fought Triple G. He fought some of these top guys, and I keep hearing people talking about he ain't fighting this guy. He's not fighting that guy. His career ain't over yet. The guy's 29. If I'm mistaken, his career is not over yet. You know what I mean?
And he's fighting nothing but big fights. Nothing but big fights.
And it's crazy to me. But I didn't want to be long. That was all I wanted to say, guys. Let us show. Continue listening. So, yeah, that wasn't no fake fight. Golly.
Oh, my
Not at all.
God. I saw, I'm with you, man. All right, my man. We will talk to you soon, man. Thank you so much for calling in. I told you the best callers come from Ohio, Beeb.
That was a solid call, man.
Solid call. Solid call. Hamed, you're live, my man.
Hi. Hello, Eric.
You all right, man? You all right?
Yeah, I see the sleeping. I know it's a long week.
All right.
I was going to say, I watched the fight. That was very late. I don't know why people are saying it's about the fans. The zone messed up. Like, if you got a guy who's saying he's the biggest boxing superstar or whatever, like, you shouldn't be making guys that can't wait for over an hour for an event or a sport that you're saying is not bigger than boxing. I think it's come to a point now. I think UFC has overtaken boxing in America. So I can't imagine UFC doing that to boxing if the roles were reversed. In America, I don't know about the UK. We got 80, 90,000 fans showing up to events. In America, I'm not sure. I think boxing is not what it was 10, 20 years ago. I think that was very bad for what the zone did. I mean, I know it's like from a fan's perspective, people want to watch the thing events, but you got to fight and they're showing a UFC event inside. Yeah, I think that was a very stupid move. But I mean, people are going to disagree with me. I've heard people arguing back and forth. But as for the fight, I thought I don't think that was a great fight. I don't think it was a great performance by Canelo, even though I picked him and I picked him by knockout. I just thought he was way too inactive, so I found it hard to give him more than. I think I gave him 5 rounds, but I thought I was being generous. I thought Kovalev was winning that fight. People are saying Kovalev was hitting the gloves, but a lot of Kovalev shots we're getting through. I don't know about you guys, but I can't give a guy like Canelo rounds more than, like, the people are saying that he was winning. I can't give him that many rounds if he's taking almost 2 minutes of a round off and he's getting hit by jabs. Even though some of them are hitting the gloves, but I don't think all of them are hitting the gloves. I thought Kovalev was winning that fight. I think Kovalev was punch drunk. I don't think he recovered from the Yards fight. That fight was way too soon, and that took a toll on him. The whole dive thing, if that was a dive, then I think can't dive with Canelo. So I'll leave that as that. I think Kovalev was hurt. Canelo was the puncher, but that wasn't the same Kovalev. The Kovalev that fought Hopkins a couple of years ago, pre-Ward, I think him and Canelo would have been a mismatch. But then again, Canelo was at that time he was barely a light middleweight. I'll try to keep it quick. I was just gonna say, I think Canelo deserves credit, and I got him number 1 now. Like, people are trying to find a way to discredit his wins. I get it. There are some holes, or you could say there's question marks in some of his wins, but Cotto was a Hall of Famer, Golovkin essentially was a Hall of Famer, so was Kovalev, and if you throw in Mosley, who was, I thought, washed up at the time, that's another Hall of Famer. I can't think of guys on Lomachenko's resume that you could put above him. But I think if you're talking just resume, I think the only guy who's got a better resume than Canelo is Pacquiao, but the only good win Pacquiao's had in the last couple of years is Thurman. I don't know if that's enough. I think Canelo's number 1 right now, and I think he deserves credit. But I don't want to see him a light heavyweight. I think he's a middleweight, even super middleweight. He's giving away a lot of size and weight. I know he's bulky and he can put on the weight, but I think that slowed him down. I don't think he's as fast as the middleweight. If he comes back down, I think maybe a fight with someone like Shevchenko, Andrade, or even Charlo. I don't know if that'll happen, but I don't mind the Beeb fight because I won 68, but it was a good knockout. I was kind of glad that I didn't go to the scorecard because I think people would have been complaining one way or the other, but we already got people complaining saying it's a fix. So I don't know. I think sometimes you can't win with boxing, man. But thanks for taking my call.
All right, man. Thank you so much, and thank you for staying up with us late. He's calling from England, so I guess it's about 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning there. I mean, so yeah. I mean, that's dedication, man. We definitely appreciate it for sure. All right, we're up against it. Let's go real quick here. Ryan Garcia knocks out Romero Duno in the first round. Very one-sided fight. It was like a minute, Beeb, something like a minute 20 or something like that. Something crazy.
It's quick.
Cienza Estrada, Georgie's crush, beat Marlon Esponza with a technical decision win after a headbutt. They called the fight 90-80, 89-82, and 88-83, all for Estrada. Let's see here. Blair Cobb versus Carlos Ortiz. Cobb wins by a TKO over Ortiz at the end of the 6th round. Evan Holyfield versus Nick Winstead. This was interesting. It's Evander Holyfield's son making his pro debut. Listen, man, he looked good for the 16 seconds he was in there. He knocked Nick Winstead down, and as soon as Winstead went down, the referee immediately stopped the fight. Beeb, you saw this fight, right? I don't know if you saw this fight or not, but if you did see the fight, like it wasn't even like, I mean, it was a knockdown. I don't know why the ref jumped in like that. I thought it was odd.
Yeah,
it was an odd stoppage.
It was bizarre, to say the least.
Yeah, it's an odd stoppage, man. Miguel Burchelt beats Jason Sosa by 4th round TKO. Now, Jonathan Rodriguez and Jerwin Anacajas were supposed to fight, but they didn't. The fight was canceled due to visa issues for Jonathan Rodriguez. Katie Taylor moved up in weight, won the WBO junior women's welterweight title. Anthony Crawla wins his final match by majority decision, 95 all, 98-92, 97-93 over Frank Urigawa or I don't know. You'll never hear from the guy again. Don't worry about it. On Fox last night, Brian Castano demolished Wale Omatoso, and Javier Fortuno knocked out Jesus Cuellar in the 2nd round, it looks like. Yeah, 2nd round. UFC 244. All the banter was about this last night, it seemed like. UFC 244. Beeb, this was for the BMF title. The baddest mother, well, you fill in the blank right there. Nate Diaz and Jorge Masvidal. One I was looking forward to. That's what I ended up watching last night. Masvidal looked amazing. After 3 rounds, they stopped the fight. Nick Diaz, they stopped it on cuts. Masvidal was pretty much dominating the fight, I thought. Diaz started to come on late at the end of round 3, but too little, too late. Good fight for Masvidal. He's a monster. Tyson Fury beat Braun Strowman this week in Saudi Arabia with a hard right hand, knocked him out, won via countout. Beeb, your boy, still undefeated. How about that?
He's a beast.
The big fight next week, Naoya Inoue and Nonito Donaire. And I believe this takes place on a Thursday, if I'm not mistaken. I think Friday's the 9th, right? I think they got it set for the 7th, if I'm not mistaken. I think they got it set for the 7th. Let me see here. Let me just double check so I don't give you guys the wrong information. Yeah, November 7th from Saitama, Japan on DAZN. Go figure that one out. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it's a little odd. So, yeah.
The 7th, yeah.
Yeah, and then, of course, the big fight with KSI and who is it? Logan Paul. Logan Paul's from Ohio, so hey, we got to back him.
Yeah.
They're fighting also next week. So our news and rumors, Nigel Benn is injured in the training and the fight is off. Who could have predicted that, Beeb? Nigel Benn pulls out with a shoulder injury. He's 55. Of course he got us injured. Of course he was injured training for a fight. He's 55. Come on.
Horrible.
Don't be stupid. Of course he got injured.
Horrible.
What was the over-under of this fight actually taking place? You know, what were the odds of that?
Not good.
Your boy, Beeb, Chavez Jr., is at it again. Temporarily suspended by VADA. So apparently a guy came into his gym. A VADA rep showed up at his gym. Chavez claims he didn't know he was from VADA, and the guy couldn't produce credentials. And so Chavez Jr. refused to give a sample. Let me ask you a question, Beeb. Do guys like randomly go around collecting piss?
No.
Who does that? Who goes around randomly? I'm just going to show up at the office one day or at a gym. Hey, will you pee in this bucket for me? I got to take a sample.
I was at a party one time and a drunk guy tried to do it to me, but other than that, no.
Aside from that whole thing.
Not many people.
Yeah, it was a different animal right there. Yeah, I mean, who just randomly says, hey, we're from Vada. We're going to collect your urine. And let me ask you, let me just play devil's advocate here. Let's say the guy wasn't from Vada and he collected your urine. What is he going to do with it? What's he going to do with it? Come on, man.
Ridiculous.
Get it together. Get it together over there, Chavez. What's the matter with you?
That's your man that did it.
Yeah, right. You know, Julio Sr., he never pulled this stuff, you know. That's why these kids nowadays, Beeb.
You're responsible
These
for him.
kids. Huh?
You're responsible for him.
I'm responsible for him. That's right.
Yeah, that's your guy.
It. What am I going to do, man? I got the green gloves.
I know you do.
I got them, man.
They're signed.
They're signed. That'll do it for this edition of Ringside Reporter, as always. Hey, Beaver, we're going to do a live cast of the KSI Logan Paul fight.
I'll do it.
The the undercard there, Devin Haney's on that undercard.
Yeah.
And Billy Joe Saunders. Now they're both fighting they're both showcase fights, but they're still on the card, man. That's not bad. And I'm such a degenerate. I'm going to watch it. Yeah, I'm going to watch it.
I'll do a live cast. You're invited if you want to come.
All right, guys, that'll do it for this edition. As always, you can catch Joe Habib on Twitter at JHabib1. You can catch me on Twitter at Ringside73. And you can find our YouTube channel at RingsideReporterLive.com. And we will see you guys next week.